You probably know that scrolling, binge watching, gaming, eating junk food, consuming brain rot isn't beneficial to you. You know that working, being productive and disciplined would bring you further in life. But have you ever truly thought about why those things are so bad for you? If not, let's look at why those things are detrimental for your life and why you should absolutely stop that, and not because of the obvious reasons. First, who am I? My name is Marco. I went from being a total scrolling addict with a screen time of over 8 hours each day, with most of it being scrolling on Insta, TikTok, Shorts, or just binge watching on Netflix and on YouTube. With that, I wasted my most precious resource. I wasted my time away. My life sucked, and I was unproductive, unmotivated, lazy, and I achieved nothing. But luckily for me, with hard work, with trial and error, and with consistency, I was able to stop it all. I was able to stop my addiction and then reduce my screen time to under 2 hours. With that, gain so much more free time. And this new free time I filled with productive stuff, with stuff that I actually want to do and stuff that brings me further in life. With my new free time, I improved my body and I went from skinny to muscular. On top of that, I improved my physical and my mental health tremendously. I fixed my poor sleep and now sleep better than 95% of all people. I traveled around in Europe and in Asia. I rediscovered nature and now find the small things in life enjoyable. On top of that, I climbed the highest mountain in Oman. I read around 70 books in German, French and in English. I ran my first competitive 10K and I'm training for a marathon. I started 2 YouTube channels, this one and one in Spanish, and I never spoke a word of Spanish before I started. So I'm learning a new language. I also learned how to play the piano. And most important, I improved my relationship with my family. I was able to do all of that thanks to my compendious 5 pillars of quitting that helped me tremendously in achieving all of that. So, if you want help with that, then click the first link in the description. So let's look at why binge watching, gaming and scrolling is bad for you and why you should absolutely stop. The obvious reasons. So let's get the obvious reasons out of the way. The first obvious reason is you waste your most precious resource. You waste your time away. Then the second obvious reason is that you fuck up your attention and your focus. You probably know that your focus and your attention is fucked because of short form content. You maybe have even heard this article or even study, I'm not sure if it's a study, but this article about we have a lower attention span than a goldfish. And that's probably true, because our attention and focus is fucked and it's worse than people 50 years ago. The third obvious reason is that you destroy your sleep rhythm. Because when you overindulge in binging, in scrolling and in gaming before going to bed, you first fuck up your circadian rhythm because of the blue light, and on top of that, you delay your sleep regardless, because instead of going to sleep on time, you postpone your sleep and say, oh, one more episode, or just 5 more minutes of scrolling. And because of that, you delay your sleep, you sleep less, and your sleep is just fucked because of those things. And the last obvious reason is that you fuck up your reward system. You fuck up your dopamine. You overstimulate yourself and you spike your dopamine so much with those habits that normal things or things that would help you or beneficial to you that could be productive just feel so fucking hard. Reading feels so hard, working feels hard, because your reward system is fucked. And the only things that feel easy and feel enjoyable are the things that caused the problem in the first place. With the obvious reasons out of the way, let's look at the reasons why it's so fucking bad for you. First, you are what you eat. You probably heard this phrase, you are what you eat. And the thing is, it's actually factually true. Because you are what you eat. When you eat food, this food is consumed and it is used for cell regeneration. So whenever you regenerate your cell, and you do this pretty often, you use that food that you eat. So the phrase you are what you eat is actually true. When you eat junk food, then you have a junk food body. Because when you eat shitty food, you become fat, you become unhealthy. If you eat healthy food, you become healthy and you have a good body and you are less likely to have or suffer from any disease. The thing is, I think it's also true that you are what you consume. And not with what you consume, what you eat, but what you consume with what you watch, what you consume with gaming, with series, movies, YouTube, social media, etc. You consume brain rot, you consume reality TVs, you consume entertainment, and you consume so much of it. The thing is, because you consume only those things, your body and your mind can only produce those shitty things. Because you overstimulate your mind with so many useless information and useless shit that your body can only produce useless information. The thing is, let's say you want to cook something and you fill your cooking pot with dirt, with trash, with puke, you can only produce fucking garbage. Because you put in your pot only trash and puke, you can only produce garbage. The same applies to you. If you consume only garbage with social media, with scrolling on shorts, with brain rot, with entertainment, with reality TV show, with overstimulating movies and series, with news, with just so many fucked up things, then you can only produce those shitty things. Because you are what you consume, and you can only produce what you've consumed. If you would read lots of books, if you would watch only unedited content or educational content, and if you just would watch documentaries or learn things about you, things that you actually need, and cut everything out instead, then you can only produce those things. And guess what? You could produce more beneficial things because you have limited input and then you have limited output that is better than having so much fucking input with useless things. So you can only put useless output. The action step is reduce the intake of the bad things, the things that make you dumber, brain rot, social media, reality TV show, news, etc. The more you reduce the input, the better your output becomes. Because you need to imagine, you have like a conveyor belt. And this conveyor belt is filled with useless shit and only a few diamond gems in it. And then if you have a sorting machine where you sort out all of the useless shit instead of the gems, then you can only produce gems. And that's what you basically need to do by reducing your input. So your sorting system has it easier. So if you only consume gems, then you can only produce gems. So that's the first thing. You are what you eat and you are what you consume. So reduce the intake of bad things that you consume. The next thing is emotional abuse. When you are on social media, and especially when you're scrolling on shorts, TikTok and Insta Reels, you need to imagine that every scroll you do, literally every scroll and every video you watch is an emotion that's released. One video is motivational video, so we feel motivated. Then another video makes you feel angry, so you feel angry. Another video makes you feel sad, then another video makes you feel anxious, then another video makes you feel bored, and then another video makes you feel unpleasant, etc. All of those things, you consume so many different emotions in such a short period of time. Because of that, your mind can't handle that, because your emotions are too much. Your mind are overstimulated with emotions. And because of that, you feel anxious and you feel depressed, because you are so overstimulated with emotion. In my opinion, this is the reason why so many, especially young people, are over-emotional, are anxious, oversensitive, or even depressed, because they are overloaded with emotions. So if you would cut those things out, then you would be less sensitive, you would be less over-emotional, you would be less anxious, and you would be less depressed, because you wouldn't be over-emotional. And you may think, but there are some good things on scrolling because I see some happy emotions, so why should I feel depressed? The thing with that is, it could be a good argument, but we notice negative emotions stronger than good emotions. Why? It's simple, it's for our survival. A few thousand years ago, we needed to sense bad emotion stronger than good emotions, because bad emotion would mean that something dangerous is approaching us. So if we would react faster and more intense to bad emotion, then we would survive, or the likelihood for surviving is greater. An example is, let's say you have a very good day. 100 people said something positive about you. One person could come up to you and said something negative about you. And because if you sense negative emotion of this person, you overlook 100 compliments and you solely focus on this bad emotion, on this bad criticizing. Why? Because we sense bad emotion stronger than good emotion. That's why so many news is about negative things. You don't see on news, oh, 1,000 kids were born. No. You see 500 people died. Why? Because negative emotions attract us more. You never see something, or you rarely see something positive on news because it isn't as engaging for us. So that's why the negative emotions are better, and that's why you're overstimulated with negative emotions. That's why you're more depressed, anxiety, etc. So you need to cut it out. So to summarize, why the things, or why you should absolutely stop those things, is because of the obvious reasons, because you are what you consume, and because of the emotional abuse. If you combine all of that, you will come to the conclusion that those things, scrolling, gaming, indulging in porn, overstimulating yourself with binge watching, or even drugs, is just bad for you. So you need to come to the realization that you need to stop it. How can you stop it? Is simple. Cut it out of your life and replace it with something good. If you just do that, you will be able to stop it and you will have a better life, guaranteed. For those who want to have a more guided way to stop your phone addiction, to stop scrolling, to stop gaming, to stop your porn addiction, to reduce your screen time, and then gain new free time and actually manage that new free time in a good way, so you can develop new habits, so you can put this new time into work that's towards your goals, that is purposeful to you, then click the first link in the description. There you will come to my compendious 5 pillars of quitting that will help you tremendously in any of those things. So if you want help, then click the first link in the description. On that note, have a great day, sleep well, and I see you in the next one. Goodbye.